The Martian is directed by Ridley Scott and stars Matt Damon, who plays the astronaut Mark Watney, whose crew accidentally leaves him on the planet Mars after a freak accident occurs, and he's presumably left for dead, and it turns out on their way back from Mars, he's not quite as dead as everyone thought he was. Matt Damon gives us one of the best performances that I've seen all year, as an astronaut who's faced with this terrible, awful situation, but he has so much optimism that things will just work out. You know, he's left in this situation that's one of the biggest nightmare scenarios that anyone could possibly think of, yet at every turn, no matter what happens, he's constantly working on finding the silver lining for it. And that was so cool for me. It felt like I was watching a real life human on screen. It felt like I was watching a true story that kind of made me snap out of it, and that's something that was really cool about it. It brought a sense of authenticity to this story. Among his crew members are Jessica Chastain, Michael Pena, Sebastian Stan, and Kate Mara, and they don't have quite as big a roles as I would have thought. But this movie really does shine through Matt Damon. It goes back and forth between on Mars and his struggle to survive and his ups and his downs. And we also go back to Earth, where we have Jeff Daniels, who gives such a fantastic performance as the head of NASA, who's constantly trying to figure out ways. Is this one man's life worth the risk? Is it worth the money? Is it worth the effort? And he's battling all these outside influences as he tries to figure out, is this all worth it? Jeff Daniels delivers a terrific performance that I would personally really like to see him get nominated for. He plays such a fantastic supporting role. There's a lot of heaviness to him, but there's also quite a bit of comedy to his character. There are so many comedic moments in this movie that really surprised me and that left me laughing out loud. One thing I would have liked to seen was a little bit more development in some of the on-Earth performances, specifically from Donald Glover, Kristen Wiig. It just seemed like they could have given so much more development to these characters, who were great performances, but the characters were background of a background who, it wasn't to say they weren't important to the story, but I didn't feel like they really had a time to shine in this movie. The visual effects in this movie were outstanding. I absolutely loved the practical sets and the practical effects that they used on this movie. Actually filming in a desert-like location, actually having Matt Damon's character move around this campsite, if you will, interacting with things off in the distance, and these sets that made everything just that much more believable. There's terrific uses of GoPros and different webcams. They made it so much more believable than it would have been with just a CGI environment and kind of having to put things and copy and paste things in the background. It just gave it that much more authenticity to it. There were a few surprises in this movie from Sean Bean and Chiwetel Ejiofor, who are both great actors, and I didn't think much of them leading into this movie, but when they were on screen, they brought so much to this movie for me in terms of weight and drama and just acting. You could tell that these characters were so invested in this situation that they wanted to help out no matter the odds, no matter the consequences. I really felt the connection there, that they wanted to help out Matt Damon's character, and they were willing to do whatever it took to get that. Overall, I loved this movie. There were so many performances that I feel could be nominated for Oscars and even Golden Globes, and I think this movie will definitely get recognition when award season rolls around. I love the performances, I cared about the characters, which is something that seems so hard to do these days when there's an actor, usually in every movie, that's just phoning it in and collecting a paycheck. It really seemed in this movie that everyone was giving their best for Ridley Scott, and it felt like such a return to form for him after some not so great movies like The Counselor, which was just awful. I hated that movie, but this movie was awesome. It's a 4.5 out of 5 for me personally. The only thing that was lacking for me was just some of that character development on planet Earth. But this movie does definitely shine on Mars. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, maybe a subscription, leave your thoughts and comments down below, and I'll see you next time.